Hi everyone, I'm Laurel Hickey. Welcome to What's Blank Got to Do with It. Today's topic, what's risk, return, reporting, and fees got to do with it? I always start my meetings with clients and prospective clients, and I always have some initial notes that I write down, and I always write down 3 R's and an F. And so next to each item, the first is risk. I want to talk about the risk for the client so they really understand the risk and the portfolio and model that they're in. I want to share the return. I want them to know how they were doing with their portfolio. We definitely update them all throughout the year, but I think it's important when you have a meeting with a client that you talk about the returns. Reporting is important, and reporting is sort of a unique one because it's not just where they find their information, where they find their portfolio, but it's also how we communicate. And the final one is the fees. Transparency of fees is very important. So if clients understand what their fee is and any hidden fees, management expense ratios, things like that, that just are not so popping out on the page, we want to share that with them. So I always say 3 R's and an F, and clients do come to the meetings and they'll have their list of things. And quite often I will ask if they have any of those items on their list, and it's always yes. So I wanted to share with you some things that you might want to look at when you have your meeting with your trusted advisor. The first R, a key element, is understanding investment risk. There are 5 risk tolerance that clients typically can choose from. The first is income, the second is conservative, the third is balanced, the fourth is growth, and the fifth is maximum growth. And the difference between each one is the more conservative portfolios have a higher weighting of fixed income and a lower weighting of equities. Maximum growth, as an example, has a really high weighting of equities and a low weighting of fixed income. So right in the middle is a balanced portfolio, which has a combination of both equities as well as fixed income. The more equities you have, the more stocks you have, the more volatility that you can feel in the portfolio. It's so important to know there are 5 different risk tolerances that you can choose from to ensure that you are investing in a way that you are aligned with. So how do you measure the performance of an investment? That performance is reported to you online with your advisor, your statements, and really what they like to do is they like to compare your portfolio to certain metrics, like return of investment. What is the compound annual growth rate, as an example? Another measure that we use to determine how you're doing versus other portfolio manager is a quartile ranking. So there's a quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3, quartile 4. So quartile 1 is obviously the best ranking. So if you really wanted to determine how you're doing compared to others, you could have a conversation with your trusted wealth advisor to have an awareness for what quartile you are in for performance of your portfolio. These metrics help us to evaluate the gains or losses of your portfolio over time. It gives you a clear picture of how your investment is doing on a comparative basis in the now, and also looking at the historical performance versus various metrics, various indices that you're comparing to. So it is important to see how you're doing now. You really don't know what the future is going to look like. We can only base it on historical metrics, historical performance. So having an awareness for that does make a difference in understanding how well you're doing with your portfolio. The third R is reporting. And absolutely, in the industry, we're very well regulated and there are standards for reporting. You absolutely will receive reporting regarding your portfolio. How I like to think about reporting is conversations with our clients. What are their expectations? So I really want them to know what they can expect for reporting, for communication. So I have sort of a personalized R with this one. So it's really how often will your return be reported to you? And absolutely, you can go online and look at your reporting. We like to communicate that to our clients in our models every month. We want them to know how they're doing all year long as opposed to at the end of the year. So it's a conversation that we have monthly as well as during our annual reviews. It's just nice to know how you're doing. Reporting for us is communication both ways. We really want to know if there are changes for our clients, material changes, if we can help them with anything that has changed in their life. So we really like to have a two-way conversations with our clients. We're sharing, they're sharing. So reporting for us is really communication, and the best relationships are when there is a flow of information back and forth and communicating. We really ask our clients, how often do you want to meet with us? Is it quarterly? Is it monthly? Is it annually? Is it semi-annually? And certainly we do find that as clients are reaching a milestone, retirement as an example, we like to actually meet with our clients or do a virtual meeting with our clients at least once a month leading up to the event and after as well, so that they are comfortable with their new normal. So R is reporting, communication. I guess it could be a C for communication, but for me, it's always been, how do we report to you? And finally, we have fees. Fees do impact the performance of your portfolio, so it's important to have a conversation about them so that you have an understanding where they are, how much they are, how often they're levied to the account, how do you come up with the money for the fees. There's quite a few different names for fees. To name a few, the main ones are management fees, transaction fees, administration fees, and performance fees. It's important to understand where the fees are. Are they part of the management of the portfolio? Are there any add-on fees? And so having that conversation is really great. It allows for an open communication when you're talking about your money. Why not talk about your fees? We are devoted to talking about fees, and it is a requirement in our industry to talk about the fees and to state them. There are documents as well that you'll have your fees stated on. I think simpler is better, and I think it's important to have a sum, a number that you know is the total fee on your portfolio. So have a conversation with your trusted wealth advisor of what your management fee is of your portfolio, and if there's any management expense ratio fees on top of that. So the two should be added together so you know your total fee is for your portfolio. And of course, the reason why we do pay fees is because we're receiving a service. So that's the other side of it. So now you know your fees. It's important to have a conversation with your advisor to ensure that you're utilizing all of the services available to you by your trusted advisor or financial firm. So investing, absolutely. Portfolio construction, diversification, performance of that portfolio, ensuring that you are invested in a way that you're aligned with the right risk tolerance and rebalancing on a regular basis. That is definitely a nugget. That's the biggest nugget. But there are also holistic services that most advisors do provide complimentary as part of that fee. So just making sure that you have an awareness for what services are available to you is really important, and you might just be able to add something to your checklist that have a big check mark that you've completed and not have to go and outsource that and have that rate with your advisor as part of your plan. So I hope you enjoyed today's topic, risk, return, reporting, and fees. We like to have a conversation with our clients every time we meet on those 4 items. Put them on your list. Have a conversation with your trusted advisor. They will actually welcome the conversation. If you have any questions, as always, do feel free to reach out to me. I'm Laurel Hickey with 3i Global Wealth of National Bank Financial.